The Bangor Area Recovering Community Coalition is a group of recovering individuals and their allies who advocate and support addiction recovery in the greater Bangor area. We believe recovery is a community responsibility, and we celebrate and make recovery visible. Our purpose is to reduce the stigma and discrimination associated with addiction. The effects of addiction are plain to see. Slurred words, the obnoxious jerks having shouting matches at 2 a.m., accidents, lies, theft, embarrassing behavior at the worst possible times, lives cut short, innocent victims. These people are very visible. They are easy to pick out of the crowd. They live their lives in fear and anger, with compulsion dictating their every waking moment. They do not believe there is any other way, at least not for them. All true, but only half of the story. What is less easily seen are people celebrating a decade or a half a century of sobriety at a party or a local meeting. You rarely hear how lives are restored, families healed, careers created. But it happens every day. The power of recovery is the stories to be told.
Within recovery and talking to people in recovery, we do discuss our morals and our values. However, this is not a moral issue. This is a disease. Alcoholism and addiction is a disease. I'm not a bad person. Other people in recovery are not bad people. I made bad choices when in the throes of my disease, but I'm a good person with a bad disease.
What I've come to realize is that I don't have to agree with you and you don't have to agree with me. We can agree to disagree. I'm very happy in my life today. I'm living my goals and I feel connected to community. I think that the biggest battle for me has been about forgiving myself and realizing that I'm a human being.
Recovery changed my life in many, many different ways, and above and beyond the fact of being sober and being able to function as a human being. It was the awareness of other things in my life that I absolutely had no clue of. I mean, I was at a point where I didn't even know that I didn't know these things about how to conduct myself properly.
There was a real discrepancy between what my life looked like on the outside and what I felt like on the inside.
I was a train wreck, an absolute train wreck. I managed to push every single person away from me.
I thought it was only affecting me. But my children were getting hurt and my husband was hurting. And all those that were around me.
When I was in addiction, my life was like a void. It was like an absence. There was an absence of life. There was nothing there.
It had gotten to a point for me where everybody in the world around me drank and drugged, and that was normal. Abnormal was for those people who didn't conduct themselves in that same manner and didn't drink and use on a continual basis like we did.
I describe it as a deep, dark hole. That's just exactly what it felt like. How was I ever going to get out of this deep, dark hole?
I pushed my children away, my spouse away, my friends away. I managed to sabotage every single relationship around me because my number one priority was to get that drink or to get that drug. Everything else came second to it.
The problem was I didn't even realize that I was broken. I really felt like I was like the little ball in a pinball machine and just bouncing from one crisis to another, to another, to another.
Every single day, I'd wake from my blackout and I would promise myself that I would not drink today. This was the day I was going to change. And before the day was over, I'd be drinking and I'd be drunk. It would be the same thing, day after day after day.
My compulsion started when I would drink and I liked the feeling. It made all the problems go away. It made life easier. I didn't have to feel anymore.
It's very hard to be humble and admit that you need help. The thing is, there are many pathways out there in which you can find that help, whether it's medical, counselors, detoxes, or faith. There are numerous ways that you can find the help out there that you need.
The road into recovery for me was when I reached out and I asked a doctor for help. And she asked me the question, do you drink alcohol? And I looked her in the face and said, I drink too much and I need help.
For me, it was a matter of sheer terror, sheer desperation, I simply opened up the phone book looking for help, and there it was.
I went to the New England Institute for Alcohol Studies, and there was this whole smattering of symptoms. And I kind of, ugh. You know, and so while I intellectually got it, that, you know, gee whiz, I fit the profile of an alcoholic, I hadn't gotten to that internal place of pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization that we're so fond of before we decide to do anything about it.
It was just that simple. I didn't have any idea of anybody else in recovery. I didn't have any idea what I was doing. I just opened it up, and there it was for me.
My advice to the newcomer would be to find a way to make it work for you. As addicts, we're so conditioned to tell ourselves why we can't do this, or why this won't work, or why that won't work, and just be hopeless and helpless. There may be some things about meetings that don't fit for you, that may even deeply offend you, but just find a way to take what you need and leave the rest. Because there is a way that all of us can just, I don't know, make a place in our hearts and land this message that we really can get better.
Don't give up. That there's going to be times when it feels like the world is crashing down around you, that there's no way you're going to live through this. There's so much pain and disconnectedness and despair and loneliness that you're never going to live through it. And I can promise you, as I know that there is a floor underneath my feet, with that same kind of certainty that you will get through it, just hang on. Don't give up.
The advice that I would give to someone would be exactly the same advice that was given to me. Just do it.
Say it to another person. And that can be anyone. That can be a teacher, a counselor, a parent, a good friend. But by saying it is admitting it.
You're at a point now, at a crossroads in your life. You can go one or two ways. We can go back to the way we've been and the way we know how to live. Or we can change our lives today. That's the point we're at in our lives right now.
You don't have to know anything. There's no rules here. You can walk in. You don't have to know the answers. Just come in as you are.
I am a person in long-term recovery, and I'm not invisible. You can see me. There is no degree of separation between us. I am right beside you. You pass me on the street every day. I'm in plain sight. I'm the quiet neighbor who always has a cheerful greeting, or the woman working out next to you in the gym. Perhaps I'm the dog walker, your gardener, your electrician, your doctor, your clerk, your coworker, your acquaintance. I am your lawyer, your friend, your brother, your mother. I'm one of the regulars at your church or synagogue. I don't stand out in the crowd. I'm a person living in long-term recovery from addiction.
I'm a woman in long-term recovery.
I'm a man in long-term recovery.
I am a woman in long-term recovery.
I am a woman in long-term recovery.
I am a man in long-term recovery.
I'm a man with long-term recovery.
I'm a woman in long-term recovery.
I am a man in long-term recovery.
I'm a successful woman in long-term recovery.
Here I am, a man in long-term recovery. Fancy that. Wow.